Hey guys, Cory here with Co-op Couple. In my last video, I went briefly over events and how they work and how they are basically the backbone of your entire game. Today I'm going to be specifically talking about a type of event called Conditional Branches. This video is due to popular request, so I'm going to be covering the Conditional Branches, which are an important part of your game. So let me explain a little bit about conditional branches. If you're at all familiar with programming, conditional branches are similar to if then else statements. Basically they help your games flow, and I will go ahead and show you how it works in RPG Maker. We're going to use this same event that we created, this little skeleton person, and we're going to delete the content out of our previous example because we're not going to really need that. So we're going to create a simple conditional branch. This is basically going to, first of all, we're going to have it check to see if your character has gold or not. So this is just going to be a simple example, and we'll go on to more complex ones later on. So let's say, for example, we're going to have 500 gold or more. So what this does is this conditional branch is going to check to see if your party has 500 gold or more. If it doesn't, we have this checked to have a handling condition when they do not have 500 gold. So let's say your conditional branch is 500 gold or more. This is going to be a simple if-then statement. So if your gold is 500 or more, we're going to show the text, you have a lot of gold. So if the gold is 500 or more, then message pops up, you have a lot of gold. Else, we're going to say, you are quite broke. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how this particular event looks. So we're going to talk to our skeleton friends. We are quite broke. So that's the else statement kicking in. So let's say, for example, our character has more than 500 gold. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm going to go ahead and give you a specific example, and then I'll explain it. We'll use this graphic as an example. We'll set it to below character, and we'll do player touch. So what we're going to do with this event is we're going to give the player 500 golds. Again, we're going to increase it by the constant of 500. And what we're going to do is we are going to... Now, I didn't explain this in the last video, but we're going to use a new event page. Usually what this is for is if you want this page 1 to no longer occur after a specific event or trigger has occurred. Now, I know we didn't talk about triggers either, but we'll be covering that later. So say, for example, we have this gives us 500 golds. Then we're going to control its self switch. And the self switch is new to RPG Maker VX or VX Ace. Before, you had to actually use one of your switches to trigger this. So just for intents and purposes, we're going to set the control switch to A to on, control switch A to on, and then on page 2 we're going to set the self switch A to on. So what's going to happen is when this event is triggered, it's going to give the player 500 gold, set the self switch A to on, and then on page 2 the condition for page 2 to run is self switch A is on. So now that self switch A is going to be on, we're going to just leave this as a blank event to where the player will only get 500 gold once. So we'll take a look and see what happens. We're going to save our changes. Alright, so the player is going to step here, receive 500 gold, and the event disappears because he's received 500 gold. So we're going to talk to this guy, and he says you have a lot of gold. So let me show you what could have happened if this event had changed just a little bit. So we're going to edit our conditional branch by right-clicking, and then for the conditions you can do either 500 gold more or less, or you can have it under something. Okay, so if you edit the conditional branch, you can have it either more or less. I'll have to investigate what the under star is, but say the party has less 500 gold or less, then obviously you can make the text change. So if he has more than 500 gold, then he's going to say you're rich, or I'm sorry, 500 or more gold. You can change that with a variable to make it be either more or less, or they have to be more or equal to. I'm not going to get into that right now because that's beyond the scope of what this video will be about. So you've seen this. As far as how this works, you have 500 or more gold, you have a lot of gold, else you are quite broke. And then after the branch ends, then the rest of your event can continue. What you can do is you can stack the conditional branches within each other. So let's say, for example, we're going to delete this text. We can create another conditional branch. And then what we can go ahead and do is we'll set the gold to 750 or more. And we're going to uncheck this for this particular event. So we have conditional branch gold is 500 or more, so it's going to check to see if your gold is 500 or more. If your gold is 500 or more, it's going to then go on to this conditional branch and check to see if your gold is 750 or more. So if your gold is 750 or more, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and go back. We will go ahead and set the handling branch for when conditions do not apply, and I'll show you why in a second. So if our gold is 750 or more, we'll have it show the text, you are super rich. So we have that happening. Otherwise, this is our else statement. We'll type in you are rich. So if your gold is 500 or more, this event will kick in. Then it'll check to see if your gold is 750 or more. If it does kick in, it'll run this event. Otherwise, it'll just say you are rich. So let's go ahead and see that in action. So we just straight up talk to him, you are quite broke. We get our 500 golds, you are rich. Now we talk to him again, he just says you're rich. So we're going to need to let's go ahead and have another event. Let's go ahead and copy this event, and we'll paste this event so that we can use both of these events. I'll show you how that looks. So you run over this, you get 500 gold. You run over this, we now have 1,000 golds, as you can see down here. We'll talk to our skeleton friend. You are super rich, because we have greater than 750 gold. So that is just an intro to conditional branches. There's so much more that you can do with these things, and I'll have to show you those in later videos, but that should just cover the basics for now. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, please just like and subscribe and share it with other people who might be interested in using this particular game making program. It might just help them out.